The diary was small, bound in faded leather, its cover cracked and worn, as if it had been clutched tightly by trembling hands. Inside, the pages were filled with a young girl's handwriting, neat at first, calm and measured, but as the entries progressed, they devolved into frantic scrawls, chaotic and desperate. The words danced across the pages, weaving a tapestry of dread that hinted at things no child should know, things no human should ever have to confront. It was a warning, perhaps a curse. It all began innocently enough. The girl, with her wild hair and bright eyes, would wander the woods behind her home, a place that felt like an extension of her imagination. The woods were alive, brimming with the rustle of leaves and the chatter of unseen creatures. Yet, there was something different about these woods. The trees felt sentient, their gnarled branches twisting and curling as if they were reaching out to her. Shadows flickered in the corners of her vision, always just out of sight. One day, while exploring deeper than she ever had before, she stumbled upon a hidden path, overgrown and forgotten. It beckoned to her, and she felt an inexplicable pull to follow it. The path wound through dense underbrush, leading her to a clearing bathed in an eerie light that shimmered like heat waves. The air felt thick, almost electric, and the atmosphere was charged with an unsettling energy. At the center of the clearing stood a stone, ancient and imposing, covered in strange symbols that seemed to writhe and shift when viewed from the corner of her eye. Compelled by a force she could not understand, she reached out and touched the stone. The moment her fingers brushed its surface, a chill ran through her, and she felt it, an undeniable presence, something ancient, something watching. She pulled her hand back, heart racing, but the connection had been made. Initially, she returned to the clearing as if it were a game, a secret she could keep to herself. She danced around the stone, laughter spilling from her lips, but even then, her laughter felt hollow, echoing back at her from the trees. Soon she began to see things, shapes lurking just beyond the trees, faces hidden in the leaves, their features indistinct but undeniably otherworldly. They weren't human. In her diary, she began to document her experiences, calling them the White People. They were not like any creatures she had ever known. They were pale, almost translucent, their eyes black voids that seemed to absorb the light around them. They didn't speak in words, but their whispers invaded her mind, filling her dreams with images that twisted her thoughts into knots of fear and fascination. The rituals began soon after. She didn't know how she knew them. The knowledge seemed to seep into her consciousness like water into dry earth. She gathered strange objects, feathers, bones, stones, and arranged them in patterns that felt instinctual. Circles and spirals, symbols that echoed the markings on the stone. The White People watched from the shadows, their presence a constant weight on her chest, approving of her actions with their silent, watchful gaze. One fateful night, under the light of a full moon that hung low and heavy in the sky, she decided to perform a ritual. She lit a fire, its flames licking at the air, and chanted words that tumbled from her lips as if they had always been there, waiting to be spoken. The flames turned an unnatural green, casting eerie shadows that danced around her. The ground trembled beneath her feet, and in that moment, the White People emerged from the darkness, their movements fluid and disjointed, a grotesque ballet that sent shivers down her spine. "Join us," they whispered, their voices a haunting melody that filled her mind. "Become one of us." Panic surged through her, and she ran, heart pounding, not stopping until she reached the safety of her room. She locked the door behind her, but the whispers seeped through the walls, wrapping around her like tendrils of smoke. They were always there, lurking in the shadows, waiting for her to succumb to their call. As days turned into weeks, her diary entries grew darker, more frantic. She wrote about visions that defied reason, endless forests stretching into oblivion, black seas that churned with unseen horrors, creatures that twisted the very fabric of reality. The words poured from her like a torrent, each sentence more desperate than the last. She spoke of the Green Book, a forbidden text she claimed contained secrets that could unravel the mind. One day she found the book in the woods, hidden beneath a rotting log. Its pages were brittle, and the ink was faded, yet she could read it. The language was foreign, yet it resonated within her, filling her thoughts with a sense of purpose and dread. The words twisted her understanding of the world, reshaping her very essence. She felt herself slipping away, becoming something other than human. The last entry was a jarring departure from her previous writings. Her handwriting was barely legible, the letters frantic, as if she were racing against an unseen clock. "They're coming for me," she wrote. "I can hear them. They're in the walls. They're in my head. They want me to join them, to become one of them. I don't want to, but I can't stop. They're too strong. They're too close. I can feel them. They're here." The diary ended abruptly, the final page blank, an unfinished thought hanging in the air like a ghost. The girl was never seen again. Her room was found empty, the window wide open, the curtains fluttering like the wings of a trapped bird. The woods outside were silent, as if holding their breath, waiting. Years later, the diary was discovered by someone who should never have touched it. They found it buried beneath layers of dust, its presence a beacon of curiosity. They opened it, drawn in by the haunting words, unaware of the shadows creeping closer. They too began to hear the whispers, to see the shapes lurking just beyond their vision. The presence that had haunted the girl now reached out to them, wrapping around their mind like a vice. And then they were gone. The woods remained unchanged, the clearing still held its secrets, and the stone stood sentinel, a monument to the horrors that lay just beneath the surface. The white people were still there, watching, waiting for the next curious soul to stumble upon their domain. If you ever find the diary, heed the warning etched in its pages. Don't read it. Don't listen to the whispers that beckon you closer. Don't follow the path that leads into the woods, because once you do, you will never come back. The woods will claim you, and you will become one of them.